In less than 3 years, I grew my business to seven figures, helped more than 100 clients in over 12 countries, and even had our company featured in New York Times Square as one of the fastest growing online companies in the country. I'm Hannah, I'm the CEO of Dream Life Consulting, and now I spend my time teaching other coaches, consultants, and experts how to get the same results by romanticizing what gets results. And so in this video, I'm going to teach you my exact process so that you can copy, paste, and implement, because what I have found in my own journey and in these hundreds of people that we have worked with is that getting to the income and the impact and the lifestyle that you desire is not as complicated as all these marketing funnels and sales hacks, but it really comes down to romanticizing what gets results, and I'm going to unpack all of that for you today. And just a quick side note, if you are resonating with this and you're really appreciating the conversations around business and mindset and marketing and sales, then please go ahead and hit subscribe. It's just a little bit of feedback that helps us know that what we're putting out here is relevant to you so that we can keep creating more of this good stuff. So today, I really want to give you the ability to copy, paste, screenshot, and implement. So I'm going to pull up a Google document and show you my exact process. So let's dive in. All right, the whole reason why I record these videos is because I feel like I have tried every flavor of business advice out there, and I'm someone that felt like all of the strategies were never going to work for me. Because on the one side, we have the hustle bros who are out here telling us to choose our hard, and they're doing cold plunges at 5 a.m., 75 hard challenges, grind until you bleed, 4 a.m. alarms until you're just so disciplined and hard or broy or locked in that you forget why you even started in the first place. And I've lived that life. I will admit I've never done a cold plunge because they don't make sense to me. Coming from Wisconsin, that's not that much of a thrill personally, but I've done the hustle thing. I've done the host events. I've done the speak on stages. I've done the just be on the go constantly trying to put myself out there or publish another book or get in front of more people who might become clients. And then on the other hand, we have the siesta girls. And I lovingly call them that because when I moved to Mexico, I definitely fell into the feminine side of things. The ones that say, if it feels like work, don't do it. We should be in flow. Everything should feel inspired and aligned with our intuition and our integrity. So I tried the whole manifesting more clients route where I would light a candle and pray and journal and feng shui my house, hoping that some magical hypnosis or EFT tapping exercise would literally bring money to my front door. And what this really looked like was me just floating around my business like I was at some endless yoga retreat, trying to live this cute laptop lifestyle with bare feet all of the time. Okay, I still have bare feet right now. There are some things that just work in Mexico, living here, for that kind of freedom-based lifestyle. But when I knuckle my way through just the hustle culture and burned myself out over there with adrenal fatigue and not having time to even take care of myself, well, then I swung to that other extreme of like, okay, I'm not going to work at all. I'm just going to let things flow and come to me. Both of those extremes, the masculine and feminine ends of the spectrum, are very hard in different ways. And neither of them got me to seven figures because I tried them both. I succumbed to the marketing jargon that told me to be more intense and the stuff that told me to be more soft. And it's neither of those things. And honestly, I don't know other people out here showing us the actual path forward if we are people who care about our energy and our lifestyle just as much as our purpose and our life's work. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what got us to seven figures because it is incredibly simple. And the secret that I wish I had heard a long time ago is that we're not out here building seven-figure businesses because we're the best at coaching. I think you see this already in the market, right? There are plenty of people who can put these kind of numbers out here and say they did all of these great things in business, but they don't even have that great of a product. And this is really frustrating for the clients that we take on as partners in our company, Dream Life Consulting, is that they feel like they're the best kept secret and all the good marketers are the ones who are actually getting the clients, while them as the experts, as the real transformational leaders, are still broke. So what gets us here is not being the best coach, because we can see outside proof that that's just not true in the industry. But it's also not because I found the best shiny object. That's what I was trying to pick up on the hustle bro side of things. Like, let me just do more webinars or more speaking events or another book podcast launch thing. It wasn't any of that, not a good launch. And it's also definitely not because I got a PhD or went to an Ivy League university. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology from the University of Wisconsin. My brother is the one who's getting his PhD right now, but he also doesn't know how to run a profitable business. So what I want you to know that actually gets us here and gets us to results, it's not the traditional paths that so many of us have bought into. But it's a simple day in and day out way of being that built a sustainable business. And that's what I'm going to break down for you so you can go ahead and implement and embody and start seeing real results. Because the truth is, you need daily momentum. Repeatable rhythms, skills that you can learn and stack and sharpen until they compound. You don't want a fluky launch. You don't want to just make 100K overnight, because you won't know how to keep doing this. You know, there's a show that I've seen before. It's called Undercover Billionaire. I've talked about it in other videos, and I love it because it takes a billionaire and strips them of all of their resources and all of their, tools of how they run their business. And they put them in these random places where they have to start from the ground up. And because these humans have themselves as billionaires, and the brain that they built on the way to becoming a billionaire means that they can always build. And they build a lifestyle, not just quick wins. And this is what gets us addicted to success even more. It's this high flying disc, right? Compound effect. Once you're on the upward spiral, it's much easier to keep going upwards instead of feeling like you're constantly starting from ground zero, even if you are. So the best part about all of this is that it is learned skills. It's not something you're born with. I didn't just have the gift of sales, delivered to me on my birthday. And it's also not rocket science, not something you have to go get a PhD for. And it's not some hidden marketing thing. Anyone can learn how to get from here to there, from where you are to where you want to be. And most of the people that we work with know how to do this for other people. But it's very hard to see your own blind spots or coach yourself or give yourself a haircut. And so consider me your barber today to come in and let you be the one to receive this. And so many of the people that we work with have gone through certifications. They've even written books on high performance and success, but they still need to hear this with beginner's ears, with an open mindset, because the people who do transform and see these results are the ones who are humble enough to know what they're doing right now did not get them to 7 figures. So if you want to know how to go from the hustle past the siesta girl and actually step into CEO, here is the Hannah way you get addicted to success. Here's just what works for me. Again, this is not rocket science. This might not even be anything new to you, because I did not invent this. I just implemented it. And that is the big difference across everything, right? Information is useless in today's day and age. We can get fake news and more information from the robots than we would ever need. It's about implementing, integrating, getting this into your brain so that one day you can be an undercover billionaire and know how to start from zero if you need to. And if this is the first time doing it, then great. Let's get those reps in now. So the first thing is around setting intentions that align with your goals. So most coaches already know how to set goals. But what actually gets us addicted to success and romanticizing the process, aka enjoying it, feeling empowered, feeling big, even when we're in uncertainty and we don't know exactly how the day is going to go or how we're going to pitch that next person or who we're going to hire next. Like, get used to uncertainty, my friends, in this entrepreneurial game. But one thing that is always in your control is your intention. And setting intentions that align with your goals and then holding yourself accountable to taking action every single day really are the basics. So here's the action intention gap, right? We often think we're going to do the thing. We're going to wake up at 5 a.m. We're going to practice every day. We're going to work and grow consistently. But that's never how we actually follow through. We are humans, and there are so many other factors than just an intention that slam into us every single day, right? Maybe we sleep in, or we hit the snooze button, or you get distracted. You were going to really focus on your YouTube channel, but then, this event invited you to go do something else with your friends. Or what happens most with our clients and in the coaching niche is that you simply get tired. You're giving so much to other people, you're working on your expertise and your craft so much, then when it comes to doing the business side of things and putting on the marketing cap, you're just so exhausted. Plus, it's outside of your zone of genius, so there are plenty of excuses to just not follow through on our intentions, not take the actions. And as much as this is basic, this is revolutionary for you because, again, it's not just about knowing these things, it's about knowing yourself. So if your intention is set around your comfort zone, like I want an easy day, I just need to get through the emails. I mean, I used to do this too when I had a marketing agency. I was just like, by 5 p.m. tonight, I'm going to be on my couch having wine. I just need to get there. I just need to get through this day. Well, then my actions were following that vibe, right? And I was just slogging through stuff, putting out fires, attracting more client fires and things like that. So the intention, that kind of intention really doesn't make a difference in my day. It just helps me plow through. But we already know just plowing through and doing more and being a hustle bro leads to adrenal fatigue, thanks to my own lived experience and what you see on the internet every day around burnout. So rather, if your intention is set around your vision of success, something way bigger than just how you feel today, something more like, I want to show up as a leader today, then you start taking actions that actually move the needle forward. And I lovingly tell myself all the time, Hannah, you got to get your head out of your butt. Head out of your butt. And how I know my head is in my butt is when I'm making decisions based on the get through it energy. I have my head out of my butt and I'm much more empowered and I'm aligned with my goals when I remember the vision and my head is not in my butt. Okay, so let me give you an example. Last week, I got my head out of my butt and I was coming back from a 2-week trip in Turkey and Greece with my family, so I was jet lagged. But I set my intention to be role modeling because I had just kind of been quiet. I needed the team to remember, hey, this is what we do. We're going to show up as leaders, even if Hannah is jet lagged, because I know they need to see leadership role modeled. I don't expect people to do things that I wouldn't do. Same thing with clients. In this video, I can teach you this because I'm living it, I'm doing it. So on that Monday, I'd come back from Turkey and Greece. I knew I had a team meeting and sales feedback to deliver. And I wanted to show up in total integrity. I want to be a leader by example because this is the way I expect my team to show up, right? We can't expect higher standards from others if we don't set the highest standard. So that one little shift, knowing I was jet lagged, but setting the intention, I'm going to show up and lead by example, changed how I entered every conversation that day. Now, if I hadn't set that intention and my intention was just to get to 3 p.m. so I can take a nap and get back on this time zone, I would have showed up to conversations like, I don't know, whatever you guys think, let's just get this done. I'm going to deal with it next week. I would have been a completely different leader if my intention was just based on how I wanted to feel that day. Because I do care about the vibes and I want to feel good. And sometimes I will luxuriate a slow morning here in my house in Mexico. So I will, take a nice slow chia seed and lemon concoction up to my terraza and I'll be journaling, or I'll talk to my energy coach about future visions I'm pulling into my reality. And I meditate and I do yoga and I have essential oils and all of that woo-woo stuff. But I don't rely on all of those woo-woo practices to keep showing up how I need to day in and day out. So even when I have an 8:45 a.m. meeting and I'm jet lagged, I set an intention because it literally takes 30 seconds and you don't even need an iPad or a candle to do this. You can just make a habit of walking into your office. Maybe you have a visual reminder on your corkboard or your whiteboard like I do. Lots of ways you can do this. Know yourself. But either way, I never skip the step of asking myself, how do I want to show up today? So please take a minute to ask yourself, hey, if you missed it in the morning and you're not a 5 a.m.er, perfect. Lunchtime, YouTube time, right now. What is my intention for the day? Does it match where I want to go? Or is it just getting me through the day? Because if it does not match where you want to go, then now is a great time to set the new intention for the day. Course correct. You can always recommit to these practices because I guarantee you'll see differences in how you show up. So let me show you exactly what this looks like for me. On Mondays, I pull out my iPad and I just start free journaling with my stylist. What's up for the week, right? And I just think about what do I want? What do I want? So here we are, July week 5, and I knew if we just had 2 more clients this week, we would hit 100K for the month. And so I was thinking about, okay, like what do I want? I want Sammy, our new salesperson with systems, peace of mind. Okay, I know there was contracts and payday coming up. I just free write the things that are on my mind for the week ahead on Monday mornings before I show up to the computer. So, I'm down here just like, what do I want? Team winning. August week 4, I start thinking about, okay, I need to show up this week as a regal role model. I want to feel like a sparkly shark, something like a Shark Tank type of leader, dream big, rise in routine. So I just free think all of those on Monday for the week. And then I can look back to this day to day and think, okay, now it's Monday and I have team meetings and sales feedback to give. And so I'm going to show up like that role model. And this is goal setting 101, but we miss it. We skip it. We think that we don't need it anymore, but it's still one of the biggest puzzle pieces, especially when we want to grow our leadership, when we want to take our small solopreneur, one-on-one, relying on referrals life into something that's bigger than just relying on our energy or how we feel day to day. Which, by the way, if you want to know how we acquire clients consistently, I do have a video linked below that can show you like the literal actions we need to take to get to those 100K months. But for right now, so you can click the link below and check that out if you want to see the full client acquisition system. But for right now, the missing piece for most of you and why most of you don't actually get to those 100K months is because you forget the most fun and easiest part. Practicing gratitude and celebration. So I know lots of you already appreciate gratitude. Maybe you have a gratitude journal. Maybe you even host master classes. Maybe you've even made your own journal about the power of gratitude. But the way that I think about it is really like putting on a pair of sunglasses. It's not optional, and it's simply how I choose to view the world. So I say it's not optional because I live in Mexico and the sun is incredibly strong. And so I just always have sunglasses now. And that's when I started to realize, yes, I could have chosen to do gratitudes when I lived in Wisconsin, but now it's a non-negotiable in Mexico. And so every night, my husband Mac and I take our dog Madison for a walk, and we have a routine. At some point on the walk, it's usually about the same spot. When we get to that spot in the park, we say gratitudes, and we each take a turn sharing our top 3 gratitudes for the day. Now, my husband is my coworker. He works in the business with me. So we're not just talking about gratitude for our literal sunglasses or gratitude that the sun is shining, because we know that we need to be grateful for that day of work. It's just becoming integrated into the way that we are. We know our work is aligned with our life's purpose. And so we celebrate progress in our leadership and in the business every single night, as if we were brushing our teeth. It's not some big deal. I don't need any supplies. It's just what we do. So as I alluded to, this is an important point, that it's not just some generic gratitude. Like, I'm so grateful to have an able body. Great, I love that for you. Keep doing those gratitudes, but add in the gratitudes about the specific path that you are on. So we want to make sure that you really get this point. And align your gratitudes and your intentions with where you are going, the vision that you have for your business. And this does apply even on messy days. You know, a couple of months ago, we were on a walk, and this was after I had to let one of our team members go. And I did not do a great job. Surprise, surprise, I'm not perfect. I have not done this before where I had to invite someone in and fire them on the spot. And I felt really crappy about how it went. Didn't go as planned at all. But I still put on my sunglasses. And my gratitude, one of my gratitudes that night was like, I'm actually glad that I botched that conversation because I'll never do it like that again. I learned so much by doing it wrong. And these are the kinds of lenses, literal lenses, that I see other successful entrepreneurs taking on, is that the obstacle is the way. And so when I reframed a difficult day and a heartbreaking conversation into, well, I'll never do that again, I was able to keep moving forward and not get obsessed with the obstacle or the coulda, woulda, shoulda, or the berating of myself, because I've tried that path and it just leads me to crying on my bathroom floor, which doesn't help anyone. If I'm crying on my bathroom floor about every conversation, I'm not helping myself, being on purpose, or helping other people who benefit from me being in a sparkly, grateful state of mind. So celebration, on the same point, is the twin sister of gratitude. So every time you land a client, or you pitch something that you were scared to put out there, or you just show up on a day when you really didn't feel like it, celebrate that. Say it out loud. You don't need my dog and my husband to do this. I know people who do this with their own dog, and they're single and they just cook dinner and they think about, when they're mixing their vegetables, what they're grateful for. Write it down. If you feel weird talking to your dog, use that iPad journaling system like I do, or just give yourself a high five. There's people out here who have gotten really famous for telling you just to do that. High five yourself. Because the reason why all of this is out here is because it's what keeps us in the game. And I talk to so many leaders who are on the edge of burnout. And it's not about some magical cash injection, because those also burn out. And it's not about some quick marketing Band-Aid, but it's about becoming the type of person who's learned how to put on their sunglasses, sees the progress, does not hide from problems, but celebrates every single step forward. Even the crappy conversations, even the no's. If you've seen some of my other videos, I had 87 sales rejections before I got one no. You better believe I had to figure out celebration and gratitude in that season. And because I figured it out in that season is why I can now apply it and keep growing forward and have new problems and keep showing up. Because this is resiliency. And it's foundational to every high performer and every 7-figure business. It's about being grateful for and celebrating the hard stuff, because this is where we grow the most, right? If this were easy, everyone would be doing it. You're not like everyone. Everyone can't do what you do. And so learning these resiliency tools are what is going to make you actually a leader of integrity who doesn't quit and burn out in a year or 3. You just have to learn how to set an intention at the beginning of the day and then show up knowing that there's going to be problems. Okay, I embrace problems now because it means we're growing. It means I'm alive. I'm worried when I don't have problems. And there are going to be rejections. That's just part of the game. And there is plenty of stuff that you don't know how to do. In fact, more now than ever. We are all in an uncertain learning age. And so when you show up and you do it anyway, you become the type of person who has a 7-figure company. And you don't have to be spiraling about the bad stuff that is old news. In the 4 Agreements book, they talk about the fact that humans are the only animal who will ruminate, who will replay scenes in their head and feel guilt and shame. We're the only animals who replay the same thing and poison ourselves with those negative thought patterns thousands of times, right? Ted Lasso says, be a goldfish. Just remember it for 17 seconds and then get on the high flying disc. Find the opportunity. Put on your gratitude sunglasses. Just like you would build muscles in the gym, right? These are your CEO muscles. And there's no other way to handle than doing the reps. You can't build the muscle without breaking down the muscle and having it grow back stronger over and over and over if you want sustainable results. Now, I think the part where we really shoot ourselves in the foot or get messed up on this is that we think showing up daily means the hustle bro thing, where you have to set alarms for 4 a.m. and do cold plunges and run 5 miles and do 50 push-ups and. But the truth is, taking things day by day means that sometimes you're going to have a really full battery pack and a really full calendar. But then other times you're going to feel depleted. And then you're going to have to set a different intention for how you want to show up for that day, right? I told you, on the day when I felt depleted and jet lagged, I decided I need to role model. How would I want my team to show up if they had been traveling for 2 weeks? And it's not by making excuses and being tired. Right? So this is why showing up daily is so important. It's not about being the same or perfect every day, but it's about honoring the process, the cyclical nature, the fact that some days are more energized and the fact that not every day is the same. So let's talk about learning to grapple with this and living on the edge, because the first bubbles here, like that is very certain. Okay, like if I just know every day is going to be the same, then I can create expectations and then I can create routines. But the truth is, entrepreneurs don't have any day that is the same. That's part of the reason why we love it. We love that kind of freedom and flexibility. So this means we need to embrace the art of uncertainty and learn to live on the edge. So this is one of the biggest shifts that got me out of that whole pendulum between being a hustle bro and burning out on adrenal fatigue, and then being a siesta girl and burning out on credit card debt. But it was finding a middle way forward and embracing living on the edge. Here's what I mean. For years, I thought there was going to be some big magical finish line that I would just reach. Like one day I'm going to be a millionaire. Okay, one day I'm going to have 100K in the bank, or one day I'm going to be respected. Like this arbitrary finish line lived in my head. So, once I hit 50K months, or I have 100 clients, or I get on New York Times Square, everything is going to be different. That will be my entry into my new life, and things will feel easy and I'll know what to do. But even as I say that, that's very comical, right? It's like you never just show up one day and feel completely ready. So I thought I would only be doing stuff that I felt qualified for, that I felt old enough to handle, right? I mean, if I keep working hard enough, someday I'll feel like I'm old enough to be running this ship, or like I'm actually the boss here. But what I found out is that there is no finish line, because even when I realized I had done $1 million in sales, it was old news. It was just another day at the office. There was no parade, no confetti. It was just like, oh, okay, we did it. And I still had emails to respond to. And I still had Slack messages to complete, right? And so there isn't a big finish line. And this goes back to why we need to learn how to celebrate everything, because no one is going to come to your door with champagne in this world, right? So living on the edge means choosing to do the things that scare you so that you can keep conquering your growth edge. So what this looks like for our clients, and what I had to live through as well, is enrolling someone into a program before it is fully built out. That's pitching people into the vision, enrolling people into something, even if you don't know all of the steps yet. That is leadership. And it's scary. But the only way that you're a leader is if you're on the leading edge and you're like the first person to do it, or you're blazing the trail. And that means you don't always know what's ahead of you. Same thing with putting out a bold promise into the world before you feel ready. I put out a book when I was in my 20s about financial freedom. I kind of had a retirement account. I was making like 10K per month in my business. And so it felt very scary to be this young teeny bopper talking about financial freedom. But I knew that there were other millennials who didn't know what I knew. And so I had to think about being bold and having authority over some people. I'm never going to know everything in the world, but I was also never going to be ready if I didn't just start helping some people, the ones that were just a few steps behind me. And what this also looks like is saying yes to opportunities that stretch you, even when you don't feel old enough, qualified, or whatever enough. Okay, you can always create that gap, or you can just decide to feel the fear and do it anyway. Success 101, and this is what the top 1% understand. Because you cannot be the top 1% by doing the things that everyone else does. That's the whole point. You're doing scary, unique, never seen before, brand new things to be on the leading edge. And one of the tips that I got early on in my career, thanks to my background in psychology, is that fear and excitement are literally the same exact thing. There is research that shows performance-based anxiety is the same thing as saying, I'm excited out loud. And so we get to choose to put on our gratitude glasses and think about scary stuff like it's exciting. It's just about the lens we choose to see things through. Because even with a 7-figure business, I still feel fear doing things for the first time. I still mess up and regret things because there isn't a magical finish line. No special trophy, no miraculous milestone that will take all those nerves and pressures away. I'm sorry, but I wish someone had told me this because it really held me back and kept me playing small, thinking someday my life better get easy. But when I feel a gut punch or I have that nervous flutter, I have to remember to put on my CEO hat and know that that will always be there. This is the opportunity. This is the edge. This is just my biology telling me I can choose to be excited right now. So remember that the people who get addicted to success aren't the ones waiting until they feel totally safe and certain. What successful person do you know ever said, I just sat around and waited and then it all worked out for me? Nobody. Because that doesn't work, right? So it's always the ones who keep stepping onto the edge over and over again, do things that make us later feel embarrassed or feels cringeworthy. I really think that embarrassment is like a ticket to entry into success. Because once you've done that, then you know you can survive it and you keep going and you keep being audacious and setting big goals and showing up before you're ready, right? These are the things that we know lead to success and big growth and momentum and real results. Results don't come from our comfort zone. So let's zoom out for a second and land this plane. The easiest way to become addicted to success is to make it your lifestyle, not just something you want. It needs to be something that you live and you act on every single day, not just something you dream about or hope for. And we do this by, number one, setting intentions that align with your bigger vision. Whether your mornings are slow and spacious or fast and jet-lagged, find a way to ask yourself, how do I need to show up today that aligns with my bigger vision, who I'm trying to become? Then take daily actions that actually move the needle forward. Do I need to say that again? I know so many of you have heard this and you understand that action is what actually gets you what you want in life, but I know so many of you that are in that sitting and waiting thing. And I hope you hear that's not what brings real results. That's not what got me to 7 figures. But what did is taking actions and then celebrating everything, even the messy lessons, even the gut punches, finding the gratitude with your CEO hat and sunglasses on, good skin protection, and also negative energy protection. And then choose to live on the edge. You know, I was recently talking to my business partner, Ore, about some new initiatives we wanted to launch. And he actually had me go through our very own 3D detox. I have a video here of like how you can move yourself through a decision. And one of the first steps is to just think about all the things that could go wrong. Like how painful could this possibly be? But every time I do that, I start to see what the heck else would I be doing with my life besides scary stuff? It's like, okay, yeah, even though these things are going to be scary, I would regret not trying them. You know, I'm not in my 20s anymore where I'm like, I want to go skydiving and scuba diving and I just got to go out and try everything. But I am the type of mission-driven entrepreneur that doesn't want to wonder what if. And so I have chosen to live on the edge, to live outside of my comfort zone. And that does mean that there are some ugtastic, uncomfortable things just because I've never done it before. But gamifying it and then seeing the results that come make you hungry for more. It's a feedback loop. You get better at living on the edge as soon as you choose to love living on the edge. So this is really the only way that has helped me stay in this game. I've been in it for 9 years and counting. I've had lots of highs and lows that I'm very honest about here on the channel. And so I just want you to know the simplest way forward so that you can keep growing your business through your life, not around it. This isn't about work-life balance. This isn't about how am I going to be with my kids or just how am I going to be as a CEO. This is about you living into that vision. If that's your vision, then it's about having it all. So how do you need to show up today? Because the more we romanticize these lifestyle steps, even if they're small and imperfect and you don't know what you're doing at first, that's perfect, the more addicted to success you become. And as I mentioned, this is a flywheel. So very curious to hear your feedback and what you're going to be implementing in the comments. And if you are interested in hearing the more strategic side of how we take actions to be bringing results into the lead generation and sales side of things, then go ahead and click that video walkthrough linked below. Otherwise, I hope you are getting to action, setting your intention, and making your dream life your real life. Cheers to growth.